So anyway, John.
Yeah, I don't think you can say environmental wackos. I think there's concerns in the environment, but I think they extrapolate them out.
No, they're
draw things
environmental
out.
wackos.
I like the
agenda.
terrorists.
Their agenda's out to lunch.
I like the terrorists.
They
thing better.
view the world with a
I like
warped
the terrorists
mind.
better. I like the terrorist thing better. They're trying to. They use their agenda. They use the environment to protect. Oh, anyway, all right. So you're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM 1220 KHTS.
And they cost local businessmen like Mr. Backer and New Holland Farm millions of unnecessary...
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Millions of unneeded expenditures.
And now we're talking
environmental wacko stuff.
Now we're talking sports.
And I'm telling you... Never mind.
Let's talk football.
Okay.
Football.
What about Mr. Football? He ditched us last week.
Mr. Football, you there?
Yeah, hey, how you guys doing?
Good. Mr. Football, it's time to talk football, right? Right, Doug?
No, I want to do a little basketball first.
College basketball, Doug? Why would we talk college basketball?
Who's been rated number 1 in the country for about a month now, right, Mr. Football?
Duke?
Nope.
Nice.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down.
The Bears.
Go Cats.
The Bears.
The University of Arizona Wildcats.
Bear down the Cats. I'm confused.
Have you seen them play, John?
I have seen them play.
They're good. They're a deep team.
How deep, Mr. Football?
They're deep, but the rotation typically only has around 7 players.
Right.
That's not bad for college. That's not
Not
bad
bad
for
at
college.
all.
But they've got the Pac-12 is not what you would consider a basketball powerhouse.
Now, John,
right?
they beat Duke in New York City, and they went to Michigan, beat Michigan.
Michigan's not that impressive.
Own
They beat
house.
Michigan State yet? Oops.
They beat
John, you need to give a little credit to the Pac-12 because Stanford went into Connecticut and beat Connecticut. You have Cal right now in second ahead of UCLA at 13 and 4.
Okay, but you got okay. Wait a minute. Back
and
up
Arizona
a little bit.
won at
Back
UCLA.
Up you got
at UCLA.
Yeah, but you got Arizona. Okay, they're a good team. UCLA, I don't think they're a good team yet. They probably will be next year. I like their coach. You've got Stanford, who is a smart team, but they're good for one upset a year, maybe.
Stanford will make the tournament, though.
Yeah, they'll make the tournament because they play Washington State, Washington, Oregon,
but you
Oregon
can say
State.
that in any conference.
In the end, isn't that the goal, though, to make the tournament?
No,
it doesn't matter how you get there.
I'm not gonna justify that. I think the remnants of the Big East or the ACC or even the SEC this year, or even the Big Ten, which isn't the Big Ten, which is now the Big 14 or 13 or whatever they are now. I think that's probably a much better basketball conference than the Pac-12.
No doubt about it.
I mean, you go
from top to bottom.
From top to
when
bottom.
You take the elite teams.
How many elite teams does the Pac-12 really have, Mr. Basketball? We're changing your name, by the way. Do you notice that? We'll change it back to Mr. Football when you talk NFL.
I didn't get your question. I'm sorry.
How many elite teams do you think the Pac-12 really have?
Oh, absolutely just one.
Thank you. Okay. Next. All right. So
what about the NBA?
Oh, what's wrong with the Lakers besides that they're horrible, or are they really smart? That's the question of the day.
There's 2 things wrong with the Lakers. 1, Kobe isn't there. 2, D'Antoni is the coach.
You really think it's that bad?
I do, and I love what Nick Young did the other night. Is when he got hit hard foul by yours truly, Alex Len. He immediately got up and started fighting, and that's the kind of aggressive play style the Lakers need. They need to be physical, aggressive, but not only with the ball, even after the play.
That's their problem. And do you think that's the coach?
And I do think it's the coach.
You've got a D team, you got a D League team playing in Lakers uniforms, don't you?
Essentially, Kendall Marshall is not the answer.
Exactly.
I don't understand. He doesn't belong.
Yeah, and Gasol is not their most valuable commodity. They don't have a valuable commodity. So,
but he's still perfect in a Lakers uniform, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that the Lakers are really, really smart. And what I think they're doing is I think they're what, chucking for luck? Isn't that what it was called?
It's basically a plug and play until Kobe comes back.
Yeah, they're sucking for luck. They're basically doing exactly what the Colts did last year to make sure that they got the first pick. And the Lakers are probably doing the same thing to improve their draft status.
How about them Clippers?
How about them Clippers? They just signed Edu Turkoglu for the rest of the season, which is a big signing.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
How come nobody talks about them?
Yeah.
Nobody talks about them.
Chris Paul's out.
Yeah, but they're still playing well.
They are. Tonight they play the Knicks on ESPN at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if they can get that big W there, especially at MSG, I think it'll put them right back on the map again, even without Chris Paul.
Real quick story to let you know how the Lakers, this is a Laker town. I was at the UCLA Arizona game last Thursday night, and Doc Rivers, the coach of the Clippers, was at the game, and when they showed him, on the video screen, he got all kinds of boos.
Really?
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
I was
Hey,
shocked.
thanks for the invite on those tickets.
Yeah,
there,
anytime.
Yeah.
Anyway,
See, watch, I can get an invite to Mr. Football at his house. Hey, what time's that game start, Mr. Football, and when can I come over? See, not a problem.
Which game?
Any game.
I think he's talking about Sunday.
12:30 on Sunday, 4 o'clock tonight.
12:30 on Sunday. That may be a deal. All right, it's time to talk. It's time. We the elephant in the room. Okay, we're coming down to the final. Mr. Football and I are both 7-1, looking at the standards since the playoffs. Okay.
All right, playoff standings for the Gazette Radio Hour playoff picks. In first place, John Rogers with 7 correct and 1 wrong.
That's just alphabetical, Mr. Football. Don't take it personally.
Tied for first is Mr. Football with 7 correct and 1 wrong.
If you use my real name.
Yeah, there you go.
And then Tim and I are tied for third and fourth with 3 right and 5 wrong.
5 wrong. How could you do that in the playoffs? The playoffs are pretty much
I
true
went
to
for
form.
upsets. All right, I think this Sunday is going to be 2 of the best games that I can remember on the
No, I
playoff
don't think so.
Sunday.
I don't think so.
From a journalistic standpoint, this is heaven.
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
quite honestly, what usually happens in these games is one team gets found out. Okay, one team is not as strong as you think. Okay, I'll go on a limb. You ready? I don't think the Broncos are as strong as you think.
I agree with that.
I don't think the Broncos are going to win.
Is that going to reflect in your pick?
Yeah, it is. I just told you right here. I don't think the Broncos are going to win. I'd like the Broncos to win. I think it'd be a great story. I could probably get Peyton Manning out. If I would have Peyton Manning-itis. I'd be sick of him by the time the Super Bowl rolls around. But I think that there's some serious flaws on the team, and I think Belichick is smart enough to exploit those flaws.
And can I keep going with that? And
Absolutely. Piggyback away, Mr. Football.
The biggest question there is the Broncos secondary, especially with Chris Harris's injury last week.
Yep.
That fills a hole, and with Tom Brady picking apart with these young receivers, he could just pick on whoever they have out there on the right side.
Yeah. So are you in agreement with me? You're picking the Patriots?
My preseason Super Bowl was Seattle, New England.
So there you go.
But do you think New England's defense can stop Denver?
I do.
I do. I do too. I think the only thing they might have problems with is what Denver does very well, but they don't do enough, and that's run the ball.
Now, is the weather going to affect either one of these games?
I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be really nice in Denver.
How about Seattle?
The Mile High City. We won't even get into that one, will we?
What about the altitude?
It might have an issue, but what about the decriminalization of marijuana or the legalization of marijuana? That could have an issue, couldn't it?
They'll be selling a lot of nachos.
Yeah. Fritos. Get your Fritos here. All right, so Doug, you're making your pick or what?
It's time.
We've already made our pick.
No, not officially.
Mr. Football,
When
you
it's
officially made your
official.
pick?
When I ask it,
Oh,
then
sorry.
it's official.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
It is the Doug and John radio show.
New England at Denver. Mr. Tim Haddock already picked via text. He's going with New England. Mr. Football?
Sure he did.
I'm going with New England.
John?
Gee, really? You're going to ask me? Should I think about it? I'm going with New England. Wow. It's like in
Pick
one
the
ear and out.
Redskins.
It's one. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Redskins.
I'm going with the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
I think it's at home. Home crowd advantage.
All right. Yeah, you're entitled to your opinion.
Altitude. I don't think New England can stop them.
You're entitled to your
Okay.
opinion. Even if you're wrong.
San Francisco at Seattle. Tim went with Seattle.
Mr. Football's going with Seattle too, aren't you?
Seattle.
Yeah. I'm actually, this is going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm going with San Francisco. I think they're the hot team right now. Unfortunately, and I'm not a big 49ers fan, but I think that they are a hot team right now.
Yes, I think they are. And momentum is on their side. I don't think Seattle played well the last few games, especially when my Arizona Cardinals beat them.
Wham.
The only loss in Seattle the past 2 years.
I know.
Thank you, Mr. Football.
There you go.
All right, so that's it.
All right.
And then after this one, we'll have one
We'll have
one
some fun
big
with
pick.
Mr. Football, come back. We will have some fun with the Super Bowl, guaranteed. We'll pull up some.
guys.
We'll
Now,
pull up some of the prop picks.
Mr.
Have a great
Football,
weekend.
next week you're going to be just Mr. Basketball, okay?
Sounds good.
That's
See you
right.
then.
The dead
Thank you.
time. The dead time. All right. You're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM 1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station.
And we'll see you next week.
Have a great week.
KHTS Dallas Canyon Country, Santa Clarita.
It's 2 o'clock. Time for NBC News on your hometown station.
NBC News Radio, I'm Luke Russert. President Obama says the government should no longer hold a massive database of U.S. phone call records, but he's asking Congress to decide who should. In his speech today, he expressed strong support for U.S. intelligence agencies.
They're not abusing authorities in order to listen to your private phone calls or read your emails. When mistakes are made, which is inevitable in any large and complicated human enterprise, they correct those mistakes.
50 years after its report launched the anti-smoking movement, the U.S. Surgeon General's office has released an update today. Acting Surgeon General Boris Lushniak says the list of diseases related to smoking is growing.
Diabetes mellitus, rheumatoid arthritis, and colon and rectal cancer are also caused by smoking.
The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to take up a new privacy issue. Do police need a warrant to search the cell phones of people they arrest? Civil liberties advocates say a court should approve whether law enforcement can rummage through all the data that smartphones can hold. This is NBC News Radio. Thousands of people are still out of their homes due to the wildfire burning east of Los Angeles. Azusa Police Lieutenant Paul Dennis